Charlie Kirk warned Americans for years about the Chinese Communist Party. And following his assassination, the CCP has plenty to say about him. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. The CCP believes in never letting a crisis go to waste. And with America in turmoil following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, they're trying to do the meme. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't like me talking about Charlie Kirk very much. They've been demonetizing me when I do. That's why I'm so grateful to today's sponsor, Outskill, because it means I can afford to cover things like how China is using Charlie Kirk's assassination for their own ends. There's a lot of talk in 2025 about AI taking people's jobs, and it's true. But at the same time, people who learn AI can make more money than they ever could before, often without even having a college degree. That's because these days, nearly every white-collar job today demands AI skills. And people who have AI skills have a much better chance of getting a job or starting a successful business than everyone else. That's why I've partnered with Outskill, the world's first AI-focused education platform. This weekend, they're holding a 2-day AI mastermind workshop with 16 hours of training taught by expert mentors. During the 2-day live training, you'll learn 10 plus powerful AI tools, prompt engineering to get the best outputs from AI, and how to automate your workflows and build AI products without code. And when you attend, you'll get exclusive bonuses worth $5,100, including a prompt Bible with 3,000 plus high-impact prompts, a roadmap to make an extra $10,000 a month, and a personalized AI toolkit builder. Over 10 million people have attended this training across different industries, and now it's your turn. This training normally costs $895, but I've partnered with Outskill to give away 1,000 free seats exclusively for my viewers. So clear your weekend. The training is this Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on both days. You will learn so much you can do with AI, you'd wish you'd attended the last time I told you about it. So scan the QR code or click the link below. And now on with the show. So you don't need me to tell you that the assassination of American conservative commentator Charlie Kirk has forever changed the U.S. The left and right are heavily divided. Ugly rhetoric is flying across social media. And, okay, so maybe not that much has changed. But this has shown just how ugly social media discourse can be. Take all the people who celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination, for example. If I needed even more reasons to lose faith in humanity. Have we not learned from communist history what happens when you start dehumanizing people and justifying political killings? That's how authoritarians like the CCP got into power. Of course, some Americans will tell you that communism just hasn't been done right yet. 97th time's a charm, I guess. Kirk's legacy has touched millions all over the world, from the UK to Korea, Australia, the Maoris, and more. Hey, faith in humanity and God restored. There's a reason Charlie Kirk sparked this. Because whatever you may think of his opinions, we should all agree with him that freedom of speech is absolutely vital. And that makes him 100% an enemy of the Chinese Communist Party. In fact, Kirk warned against the U.S. being reliant on China and called out the Chinese Communist Party as America's biggest threat.
The Chinese Communist Party is the biggest enemy of America, period, hard stop. I mean, look no further than the virus. The virus that was manufactured in a laboratory and released either intentionally or unintentionally on the world, where we locked ourselves down and destroyed our currency and completely destroyed our civilization. That's going to go down as one of the great mistakes in human history, all because of China. Building islands in the South China Sea, hacking our cyber grid, buying up our farmland, attacking us in more ways than one. The Chinese Communist Party is an enemy of America. It's an enemy of freedom. It's the enemy of the West.
Oh, I didn't know Kirk was a chef because he was cooking there. Kirk's statements on the CCP are music to my ears. For pro-CCP shills, not so much. In fact, pro-CCP shill Counterpoint Global called Kirk a fascist, accusing him of fomenting anti-China bigotry and hate. If saying what a government has done is making people hate them, I think the issue isn't the speaker. That's like blaming a mirror for making you ugly. But despite Kirk's criticisms of the CCP itself hasn't censored information about Kirk's assassination. In fact, it has allowed it to explode in state-run news and Chinese social media. And the response there has made me feel just as disappointed with humanity as Western social media. This person says it's a good thing he died, but it's a pity that he didn't die early enough. And this lovely individual implied that his widow was prepping for an OnlyFans career. If people in China didn't know Kirk before, they do now. So given the CCP's proclivity for censorship and Kirk's criticism of the CCP, why are they allowing Kirk's assassination to fill their airwaves? Well, obviously I can't read their minds, but I'd guess that they want Chinese people to believe American democracy is a violent and dangerous place and it doesn't work, while life under the CCP is a safe paradise. Over there, people get shot for speaking their mind. Aren't you glad you live here? Don't answer that honestly or we'll shoot you. Meanwhile, on Western social media, we're seeing Russian and Chinese bot and shill accounts pushing division. Pro-CCP shills on X like Carl Jha argue that Charlie Kirk died because he lived in a dysfunctional country. Cyrus Jansen, meanwhile, laments that the US is the only country in the world with a gun pandemic that will never be fixed. And S.L. Canthan is predicting a civil war in America's crumbling empire where the U.S. elites are using Kirk's assassination to fuel further polarization. I'm pretty sure that's what you're doing. He, along with Jha, are feeding into fears that Trump will use Kirk's assassination as an excuse for surveillance and the loss of liberty. It's hard to understand how they could write those posts with a straight face while they continue to promote the CCP, the world's biggest Orwellian enemy of liberty. But since anything that causes discord in the US is good for the CCP, these pro-CCP shills didn't stop there. They also implied that there's a group of powerful people who orchestrated Kirk's assassination with planning, money, and power. Want to know who? I'll give you a hint. It's the people that get blamed for everything. Yes, according to the pro-CCP shills, it's the Jews. You know, the folks that use their space lasers to kill Tupac or whatever. They're adding fuel to the conspiracy theory that Kirk was assassinated by Israel after he took a more critical stance on Israeli policies and Jewish donors in the US. If Israel murdered everyone who criticized them, then every university in the US would be a smoking crater. CCP shills like Zhao Dashuai are especially going all in on the Israel conspiracy theory, saying ridiculous things like that Jewish conservative commentator Ben Shapiro was dialing his contact in the Mossad to plan the hit, and implying that the reported assassin Tyler Robinson could not possibly have been the real perpetrator, which is almost as delusional as the number of people on the left swearing he's a Republican. But it's not just CCP shills pushing lies about Charlie Kirk's assassination on social media, it's also CCP bots. In fact, Utah's governor warned of foreign nations, especially China, using bots to inflame tensions by promoting violence and disinformation. Wait a minute, you mean this isn't organic? Perhaps, and this is just speculation, it's partly thanks to these Chinese bots posting disinformation that AI, like X's Grok and Google's AI Overview, are getting confused and putting out false claims. So robots are confusing other robots, which are confusing humans. This future is somehow so much worse than the one where we assumed the machines would just kill us. None of this should be surprising, though. The CCP absolutely loves adding fuel to divisions and chaos. It's what the CCP's been trying to do to the US for years. If America falls because of division, or worse yet, internal political violence, that gives the CCP both propaganda material to exploit and draws attention away from the growing threat of war with China. But the CCP had better watch out, because this game could easily come back to bite them. Charlie Kirk is now a symbol of free speech and liberty all over the world, especially in South Korea, which is very fitting since Korea was where he did his last tour abroad just days before his assassination. It was here that Kirk warned once again against CCP influence and radical leftists.
And now today, Korea is our bulwark against the growing power of the Communist Chinese Party.
A message that's very relevant to South Koreans as they see their country slip closer to China under the current South Korean administration. After his death, Kirk has become a symbol of resistance against Chinese influence in South Korea. Man, that next K-pop Demon Hunter single goes hard. Imagine how terrifying that would be for the CCP if they start to see Chinese people doing the same chant. Or even worse, if Americans and people around the world actually come together and honor Kirk's legacy, despite what the bots are trying to do, and take a stand against communism. That would be a real turning point. Don't get left behind when everyone else is learning how to use AI. Be one of the first 1,000 people to click below and book your slot for OutSkills AI training this weekend. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for watching China Uncensored.